morning, welcome back to the diary. A tale of woe this morning. As I said at the end of the previous video, I wanted to try and get to the Spate River. Well, I made it eventually. Incredibly foggy morning this morning, made the journey very slow, and when I've got to the stretch that I plan to fish, there's a few things went wrong. Some of which I should have anticipated. And firstly, it's very busy. A lot of guys, this is the last weekend of the river season of course, and so a lot of guys are squeezing in a final session. Some fishing for pike, some fishing for the chub and barbel. Added to that, the water level is very low. In fact, it's as low as I've ever seen it, I think. And that creates a problem because on this stretch, because the banks are very steep. There aren't so many swims where you can safely get to the water, should you be lucky enough to catch a fish, to actually net it. And there's probably only 3 or 4 swims that are, in those terms, are fishable. And of course, because I was late getting here because of the fog, all of those swims, nearly all of those swims were taken. I've managed to find a spot. It's a swim I've never fished before. I can just about reach the water with the net. And my confidence is absolutely shot to hell. So I think I'm more or less, I am fishing, and I've been fishing for almost an hour, but I've just convinced myself I'm going to pack it up and have a ride round and see if I can find somewhere which I would be more confident at fishing safely. So yeah, I'll give it a few more minutes, and then I'm going to pack it up and move. Found another fishable swim on the way back to the van. Just enough space for one rod, but I'll give it an hour or so. And it's a completely different day now. The sun's burnt the fog off, and I'm going to have to start taking layers off. Well, that's nearly an hour in this swim. I've moved the baits around and nothing. I mean, the water is so low and quite clear by Spate River standards. And now we've got this bright sun high in the sky. I really think I might be wasting my time, to be honest. We'll see. I'll give it a little bit longer, and then we'll see if we can find another swim. Well, that's move number 3. And that'll be the last move of the day, because quite frankly, I'm knackered. Humping gear backwards and forwards across fields. I'm getting too old for that sort of thing. I've come to a completely different stretch. In fact, those of you that are kind enough to follow the diaries may have already recognised it, frankly, because it's where I do a lot of my chub and barbel fishing. In fact, this swim was where I caught my new PB chub of 7 pounds. Last autumn, and it was whilst I was here fishing for the chub that I think I demonstrated how effective this area of slack water is, and I even went as far as to say that if I had half a chance at some point during the pike fishing season, I'd try and fish it for the pike. However, I have to say, compared to when I was last here, I'm not as confident as I might have otherwise been about finding a pike in this slack. It really needs significantly more water in the river. The island at the top of the swim is normally underwater with just the reeds showing above the surface, and of course it pushes the main stream across to the far bank. With it being so low, the water's shallow. I've already complained about the conditions. Water's quite clear, so the likelihood of there being a pike in this slack is probably significantly reduced, to be honest. However, we'll give it a go, if for no other reason than I said last autumn we would try it if we got the chance. But whether we find one, whether we can get one for what will almost certainly be my last river piking session, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. We've got a bit over 3 hours left. The sun's gone nice and hazy now, so perhaps that's on our side. We'll just have to wait and see. I'll be back if anything exciting happens. Well, that was nice. I just had a lovely chat with a fishing legend of these parts and fellow YouTuber, Charlie Farley 2, to give him his stage name. I really enjoyed that. All the years I fished the Spate River, our paths have never crossed until today. So that was nice. I really enjoyed it. Thanks for that, Tom. All the best, mate. Oh, and still no fish, I'm afraid. I think we may have some interest. Damn and blast. Come back. think it's dropped it again. It was still there. Look at the state of that now. Well, that was amazing. It obviously picked the bait up, dropped it. When I brought it back in and recast, it was immediately back on it. And then the same again the second time. I can only imagine it's a small fish because it's quite a big bait. But it was hungry. I'll need to bring this in and put a new bait on, I think. Well, that was frustrating. That was the first signs of life that we'd had. It took the first bait. I'm using sardines. And it took the first bait, put a new one on, cast it in, and I was just setting the rod in the rest, and off it went again. It had picked that one up as well. Missed it that time, put it back again. It was there again. As soon as I tightened up, you could feel it and then let go. So, like I say, super frustrating. Well, I'm afraid that's it. Defeated by the Spate River. I gave it an extra half an hour just to see if whatever was messing around with the baits before came back for a fourth time, and unfortunately it hasn't. So my river piking season ends with a blank. Hey ho, I'll talk to you when I get back to the van. Well then, so that's excuse me, that's the end of another river piking season, which frankly hasn't been standout for any reason really. If anything, it's been a bit of a struggle this year. By far and away the best fish came on the very first trip of the season. That was an 18 pounder, and at that point in time I thought, oh, great stuff, perhaps we're going to have a good season. And then after that it sort of petered out. The weather forecast's telling me that it's going to get cold again, so in theory we've got 2 or perhaps 3 weeks of still water piking still to come, including another trip to the Highlands of Scotland, which I'm looking forward to, I have to say. So what's next? Well, it might be perch. I've promised to christen my new finesse lure setup. So if I can find somewhere to go where the conditions are right, it may well be perch. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Not the most exciting video I've ever produced, obviously, but thanks for watching, and see you again soon. Bye for now.